All right. Welcome back to another Marvel Breakdown show. I'm your host, Dash. We'll be bringing my co host, Angel, on here in just a few minutes. But remember to go and subscribe to the Dash of Life channel where you can see more shows like this, all of the Dash of Lives, and other shows that we put on in the past. So be ready. Tonight we're going to be doing some breakdown of the Marvel Spider-Man uh, trailer that just dropped this week. Lots to go over for a 2 minute and 30 second commercial, but we'll get Angel on here in just a second. Remember, tomorrow night we got another show with Vern, who's watching right now. We'll be doing a show with him tomorrow night, so make sure you're checking in tomorrow. And then Monday I've got a show with Tyshawn. It's a little special show. More announcement coming over the weekend with that, so be checking it out. And as always, we got other shows, sports, like I said, comics, you name it, Dash of Life. It's all on this channel. So go subscribe right away, and we'll get started. So just waiting on Angel, and we'll be popping in. As always, remember, anytime during the show, if you have a question, throw it out there. If you have a comment, let us know. We'll try to answer it the best we can. But going to be bringing him on here as soon as I figure out technology. And here we go. All right. Well, welcome back. It seems like we just did this a week ago, but let's do it again.
It's I feel like it's been one of those crazy Marvel weeks. I was sitting there and I'm like thinking of new ideas of what we're gonna do, what we're gonna talk about in the next couple of weeks. And then of course this guy drops in.
Yeah, he drops in.
Man.
Somebody leaked it the day before or hours prior, and I think they just had to go ahead and do their spiel.
Yeah. If we're gonna go on the conspiracy theory, I think with Sony. I really do. It was probably, and I'm thinking Feige was probably like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, they're going to make just as much money from it as Disney is. So he's still partly there. I mean, this is the last one where he's part of the MCU, and then he moves back to Sony. So they still stand to gain a little bit from this show.
Well, if I read the contract correctly, and sorry, I'm still recovering from all this crazy stuff what's going on in the world today. If I read the contract correctly, last time I've heard about it is like Sony still has the rights of Spider-Man, which is cool and all. He will go on to Sony's side, and Marvel will have to deal with what repercussions from that. But
yeah.
I do remember seeing something about Marvel still has the chance to bring Spider-Man back. So that's where they have the opportunity to even still bring him back in. And
for any future Avengers or anything.
Avengers but that's the other thing too, is if Sony does do something with him, they have to have Marvel's almost like, okay, how is that going to gel into the MCU? Like a
MCU,
stamp, almost like a Stan Lee stamp of approval kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that, we're still going to have him in there, especially with the thoughts of Spider-Woman show and Miles Morales movies and stuff like that. So I still think we're going to have him in there.
Yeah.
But
hence why I put spoiler.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody caught that, but there's a lot to go over in a 2-minute and 30-second commercial or trailer.
Yeah.
So let's get one. I mean, like we talked about earlier, and just trying to get some stuff together for it. But it had a one more day comic feel to me. Like I immediately, the minute I saw him sitting in there with and spoilers alert, if you guys have not seen any of the trailer, you're going to get some spoilers here. So, and spoilers throughout the rest of the video. So just be wary. But like I said, when he went down there with Doctor Strange, I got the one more day feel where, he wanted to erase the past of Civil War, where everybody learned, and then they went and killed Aunt May, and so he wanted to change so where nobody knew it. So that's the feeling I got right off the bat with this this trailer with him and Doctor Strange.
Right. And I will put this out to viewers. I was wrong the last video. What if is 9 episodes? I messed up my count. I thought it was 6 with 9. Dyslexic sometimes with numbers. So it is 9 episodes. But yes, I agree with you on that. On the one more day kind of feel. Like in the comics, yes, Spider-Man has that one last day. He has to deal with this hidden character throughout the comic book, which finally, I don't know if it is going to be true in the show, but in the comic books, it has to deal with Mysterio. Oh my God, not Mysterio, Mephisto. Sorry, like I said, still dealing with this flu thing going on. But Mephisto comes in, and obviously the MCU fans that are the MCU fans and not really the comic book fans, they're going to lose their minds when they hear Mephisto. Oh my God, we should have been in WandaVision. Like, sure, yes. But maybe this was Mephisto's idea down the road. And we'll get into that into that idea down the road in a second. But yeah, it has that one more day kind of feel. Spider-Man has to deal with Civil War, because in Civil War he does acknowledge like, hey, I am Spider-Man, and then he has to deal with the backlash of how is a teenager Spider-Man, and at the same time, like, holy crap, I'm in college and I have to deal with all my friends going, how have you never told me you were Spider-Man? You know, so I think you have that mixture of Civil War and you have the mixture of One More Day in there. But I also have a feeling we're going to have the mixture of Secret Wars in there, because there's other parts in that trailer that kind of shows this trailer was all about deceiving everybody. It really was. And there's a lot of comic book characters that deceive plenty of comic book characters down the road, especially villains. And I feel like that's where we're going to have this deceitfulness, and a lot of people they're going to be disappointed, but a lot of people are going to be like, oh, dang, I didn't think this was going to go the route it might have gone. So,
yeah, I just, there's I don't think Mephisto's going to be in there. I don't even think I mean, this is, again, goes back to the whole WandaVision thing. I don't think we'll see Mephisto for a long time, until we maybe possibly get a Ghost Rider or something of that nature coming. If that's when I think we'll see Mephisto. I do agree. There's some of the mixtures of stuff in there. One of the things I'm surprised at in this is the way that in the comics it was different, but in this it's like all the other heroes are fine with everybody. Tony's fine with everybody knowing he's Iron Man, and Cap, everybody knowing who Cap is and things like that. And I get a feeling like this, like, he does. I mean, I get it. All the other characters are, but he doesn't want to be known. But obviously it stems from Far From Home, from all the fallout of what happened at the end of Far From Home with Mysterio and them finding out, Mysterio told everybody in the world, hey, Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Well, I also feel like it falls further than that too. You got to think about Civil War. When you have Cap going, hey, I understand people know who I am. I'm Steve Rogers. Everyone knows who Iron Man is. He's Tony Stark. But at the same time, not everybody knows who Natasha is. Not everybody knows who Hawkeye is. And that's why Hawkeye was kind of like, I don't want to be in this fight, but if I have to, I have to be in this fight.
Right.
And that was the whole point of Civil War. It was the government allowing individuals that had powers, that fought for S.H.I.E.L.D., that fought for the right interest. Okay, check this out. You need to sign this piece of paper. And at the same time, you're going to tell us who you are, what your alter ego is, and that's it. But then at that time, in today's society, in the day and age, think about it in your sense. You're a superhero. You're going around saying, I'm Superman. And then you need to sign a piece of paper. Your name's Dash. And you're going, do I sign it? Because at that point, my kids are in harm. My wife is in harm. My parents are in harm. What do I do? And I think that's where it falls back on Spider-Man, because he got thrown into this last minute before the big fight in Civil War. And now he has to ring these repercussions of these individuals are basically who retired or passed away now. And he's just kind of going,
right.
Oh man, what do I do now? I don't want anybody to know who I am. The only person that knows who I am is Aunt May and Ned.
Ned and MJ.
And MJ at this point. So what do? I don't want anybody to remember who I am. But at the same time, if by doing that, you're going to lose your love interest, your best friend, like he's caught in that tough situation. He really is. But you don't think it might be Mysterio. I kind of think it might be. And there was parts in the trailer I had to rewatch it.
Mephisto.
Watched this like several times. Broke it apart. I even got I even broke it down to like 15-second intervals of what's going on. Yeah, see? Because it's such an interesting part, because we talked about it. Kevin Feige was like, hey, there's not going to be anything. Because the MCU fans, the MCU fans, like I said, the main MCU fans that are just like, oh, I want to see everything. They're the ones that want to see everything. They want to ruin it. And then the TikTok stars are like, I want to ruin everything. That's cool, whatever. But us fans that have been a part of this fandom since we've been, alive. I've been a part of this fandom for 30 years. You've been a part of this fandom for 30 years. We don't want things spoiled for us.
Spoiled. No.
But at the same time, with the 10 day and age, you go on Facebook and you got every single trailer, every single thing spoiled for you. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So for Sony to drop the trailer and be like, hey, we're going to drop the trailer. We're going to show you what you want. I would say that Sony just drops one more trailer, similar to the first trailer, and then ends it. That's it. Just end it. We don't be spoiled. Because there's so much greatness in this movie that can happen, that it's kind of like, okay, cool. Like if we watch, like it's almost like Endgame. Remember how Endgame did their trailers?
Yeah.
They showed
sure did.
The same stuff over and over and over. And everybody was like, oh my God, I want to see more. We went to Endgame, and how did Endgame end? Magical. It was literally like watching Star Wars for the first time.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. So
I still have some issues with Endgame overall, but yeah.
It's still beautiful to see Cap holding Mjolnir and holding the shield and saying Avengers, and everybody come back and be like, assemble and just go and fight on. That's what we want to see with this movie, because you're talking about Spider-Man's greatest group of villains he's got to fight. And I'll get into that because I know.
Yeah, we'll get it. I got some questions on that one as well. So let's break it down. We got him going. He's sitting up there with MJ. He's upset about being called out and everything. So he's sitting there and he's like, all right, I'm going to go to Doctor Strange. Does he think? One question I have, and just because of what's going on, and is WandaVision going on at the same time frame? Is WandaVision? She's in Jersey at this time, and things are going on. Is that kind of what gives him? He saw what happened in the outcome of WandaVision to go talk to Doctor Strange. That's just a theory I have. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a theory I've got going.
I think you went so you went from like the first 15 seconds to the first minute and a half of the trailer already, and there's
I just want this question answered.
There's so much more before that. But no, I honestly think Juan went to, I do think he went to, I think he was trying to go to Westview, but he got shifted to Shang-Chi for next week. I think something happens that he goes to Shang-Chi by accident, and he gets trapped. I honestly believe that's what happens. Because obviously we see Shang-Chi fighting the Abomination, because it's obviously been confirmed that it's going to be the Abomination, Tim Roth's Abomination from the Incredible Hulk movie is going to be in there. So obviously Wong is fighting Shang-Chi. Wong is going to be fighting the Abomination, and then we're going to see Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi fight against the Abomination down the road, also in that movie too. So I think that's what's going to end up happening, is that he's going to do that, but at the same time somehow get put into what's going on over here.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about, like WandaVision. You know how,
right?
You know how, right? So it's because Wong was in.
Yeah. No, you see, it's almost like the same gazebo from WandaVision, but I think that's a misdirection.
Is it?
I think that's a misdirection because you know how Marvel is. You know how Marvel's always got to put something in there, and you're like think about Thor Ragnarok. The scene where in the trailer, you can rewatch the trailer now. It shows him and Helena in Asgard, and he has 2 eyes. And then when you watch the movie, he has 1 eye.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is always a misdirection with Marvel. So I think that portal, when Wong is opening up the portal, I think that has to do with Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. I honestly do believe that has to do with Shang-Chi. I don't think it has to do with WandaVision. I think, though, this is all happening. Shang-Chi, WandaVision, and Loki and Spider-Man are all happening within not even a week to 2 weeks apart from each other, or all
kind of like Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Hulk and all that.
Yeah, they're all happening at the same time. So I think that's where that portal is going to open up. And when we really watch it, you're going to see like a cage or something like that. You're really not going to see that. It's going to be a misdirection in that trailer.
All right, you can go back. I just wanted that was my biggest question. Now let's drop back to
so the first I get it. The first 15 seconds, I think one of the best parts of that whole thing I saw was my Spider Lord, when she was talking about how spiders can like attract or like mesmerate other females with their hormones and everything like that. That is a retcon to Earth 90,214 and Earth 10,1135,19, because those are some of Spider-Man in those different Earths are called Spider Lords. You know, I think that's kind of a little retcon. And then when you go into 32 seconds in, you see like kind of like a lawyer putting down a something on the table. I think we're gonna get Matt Murdock.
It looks like Matt Murdock, or it's supposed to. This might be a misdirection in my part, but it just didn't have the Charlie Cox feel. Just something about it did not. I agree. I was like, at first I was like, oh, Charlie,
yes,
Daredevil, Matt Murdock, but something else. I watched it obviously a few times over and over, and I was like, just something. They show an outline of where he's getting ready to walk into where Peter's sitting into the room there, and the body just didn't look like Charlie Cox, unless he, maybe.
I think that's where the issue is that they're not showing Charlie Cox on their left side, but on the right side they're showing his friend, because his friend, the arms almost look identical to him. So I think you're going to see Matt and oh my God,
Foggy.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Matt and Ducky together, and they're going to be dealing with this whole situation together, which I have no problem with. I really don't. And I think that's going to be a really cool scene to see both of them into the MCU collaborating, because then that brings in the Punisher, that brings in Elektra, that brings in Jessica Jones, that brings in, everybody from Netflix, because they got, finally the rights have been processed over back to Marvel again. So that has a chance to bring all those characters back to this side and have a fun time with it.
That's going to bring you to a theory here in a little bit down the
right
here in a few minutes. It's going to bring me to a theory, but go. Yeah.
I know you're getting
ready. It just that whole lawyer thing seemed a little over the top, the way he slams the files down like he's and come on. I mean, we all know Peter's playing along, because he could have just easily broken out of the handcuffs. I mean, it kind of reminiscent to the whole Man of Steel when when Clark turned himself in and he walked in and I got that. I mean, of course, obviously a Superman fan, I'm going to get a little bit of that feel from it, but yeah, I loved it. He's like, I don't, what am I going to do? I'm here. I didn't do this, but let's go ahead and get this out of the way. So, yeah.
And this is kind of weird. And I don't think a lot of people are going to pick up on this, but when you go into the clock of the 59 seconds, almost 1 minute mark, there's a scene into the trailer where you see him at school and he kind of looks up and you see these lights, and they're all kind of like rubber duckies with witches on it.
Yeah.
So obviously this is going to take place around Halloween time. Me, as a Marvel fanatic I will admit that I am biased around DC, except for Batman. When it comes to Halloween time, there are really a couple of characters I always think about Halloween time. And one of them you've already seen is Agnes Harkness.
Harkness, yeah.
So everyone's talking about, oh, that's Nicholas Scratch. I don't think that rubber ducky has to deal with Nicholas Scratch. I think that has to deal with another character who deals with pumpkin stuff. And it's not
Hobgoblin?
The Green Goblin either. It's the Hobgoblin.
Well, here I have a question on that. Well, since we're bringing up Hobgoblin, if this all, depending on when this, we already know who Hobgoblin, or at least the original Hobgoblin, was Ned.
Well, before that, it wasn't Ned. It was a guy named Richard Leeds. And then Ned, the main one we all know is Ned. And Ned, the problem with Ned was obviously Ned and Peter were competing to be in the Daily Bugle, and try to be reporters and try to be photographers. But what ends up happening, and there's multiple timelines for Ned. But the main continuity when it comes to Ned is that Ned and Peter became friends. Ned gets hurt, and Ned ends up hearing, after the Green Goblin died, the voice of the Green Goblin. And the voice of the Green Goblin was telling him, like, hey, carry on my persona. It was really never really Harry's burden, really more or less Ned. And Ned was hearing the voice, and he took apart, he found the parts, he took apart his own thing, he created his own thing, and created the Hobgoblin. And when you look at Norman's glider and you look at Norman's tools, they were really not more or less like pumpkin bomb, like they were, but they really weren't. It was more or less the Hobgoblins were really more pumpkin bombs. And
pumpkin looking, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think we're going to see both. We're going to hear. We really are, and I'm excited. It's not been confirmed, but I really do think we're going to really hear William Dafoe's Green Goblin. But I do think we're going to see Ned take on the persona of the Hobgoblin, because there have been photos and videos of him on set, not as beefy as he was, but a lot more slimmer. Like he was working out and he was losing a lot of weight. And I think we're going to see the Hobgoblin.
That's why I have that question right there. Does Ned go bad? Does Ned go bad? Yeah, I saw some of that too, and that was why I had one of the questions is Ned definitely. I think that's obviously it's from another alternate timeline, I'm guessing. I don't know if it's going to be Ned from particularly this Peter's timeline. It could be, he obviously he messes something up in the spell, causing the whole thing, and then so I don't know. It's either going. I mean, that's why I said I got my question. Does Ned go bad?
I think Ned's gonna go bad. I don't think it's gonna be an alternate time. I don't think there's gonna be a variant. I think it's gonna be actually Ned, like the Ned he grew up with, and I think that's what's gonna be the cause of it all. I think that's going to be like the part that tears Peter apart, because that's his best friend. They've known each other in the MCU since they were born, basically. And they've been best friends. And to see Ned turn bad and be like, why do you get the girl? Like, why do I have to? And I think that's where we'll hear William Dafoe's voice being like, why does Peter get this? Why Peter? Screw Peter. And I think that's where we're going to see Ned finally just snap and go after MJ and go after his, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the hottest Aunt May we've ever seen in our life. I mean,
yeah, Doc Ock would be happy to go after this Aunt May this time around.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think that's where we're going to see, Hobgoblin just doing its thing. And that's where it's going to tear Peter, because not only does he have to fight against his best man, but his best friend, and deal with the identity crisis and also deal with the repercussions of that, but he's also going to have to deal with a little group called the Sinister Six.
Sinister Six. All right, I got 5. I got 5. You might have just changed one on me, but I got 5. Just breaking down from what I've seen in the trailer. Doc Ock, obviously. We got Doc. He's confirmed. Electro's confirmed. We already know that
Jamie Foxx
reprising his role.
Yep.
Jamie Foxx reprising his role. But the only thing I noticed different in the trailer than from the original is the color of the lightning was yellow, like in the cartoons and the comics. So I think I noticed Sandman. There was a point where Peter's wearing his black, the electronic his black and gold outfit. I think I saw Sandman. That's my 3. I think the Lizard's in there somewhere. There's 4. I'm still good. I heard you. I still think we're going to get William Dafoe. I still think we're going to get Green Goblin. So that's 5. That's my 5. Now, if you threw a wrench in there with Ned, so maybe he's 6. But I still think I had 2 what ifs for me. My 2 guesses.
Okay.
If Charlie Cox is in there, then I've got Kingpin. If we're for sure, there's a pretty good chance we got Kingpin. What better way to bring Vincent D'Onofrio into the MCU, into the movies,
right,
than to be the head or to be part of the Sinister Six? That's one guess. I mean, but my other guess is Mysterio's not dead. I mean, this whole thing started because of him talking about the multiverse and Far From Home, the multiverse, everything started because of Mysterio. So I think that's my 3. But now with Ned, there's 3 what ifs there for me now. So there's 3 I'm going to have to think about later tonight when we're done with this. That's my Sinister Six. I just and I feel somewhere in the back of my head, Venom or Carnage pops up either at the end of the movie or at the end of the trailer.
No.
That's my bold prediction. You shake your head no, but my bold prediction, everybody that's watching me right now, my bold prediction, Venom and or Carnage end up either at the end of the movie or mid credits. Dash said it here right now, right here first. If I'm right, y'all owe me a Coke.
All right, so I have 2 different versions of the Sinister Six. All right.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people are going to get mad at me because I have a funny feeling I'm going to be at least 90% sure of what's going on. All right.
Okay.
So, obviously, Dr. Octopus, which we all know there.
Hello, Peter.
Yeah, hello, Peter. I fell in love with it when I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, just yes. And
Give me a little.
I love.
You gave me a little Elton John vibes there, though.
Yes, I was. Just, it was almost like a shit. It's been 20 years since that first movie came out, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh God. And I remember watching it in front of the kids. And it's like, holy shit! Like, it kind of got a little chilled here for a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm leaving the room, and the kid, like, they're like, what? And my wife's just like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is a 20-year-old movie. Why are you because it's Doctor Octopus. Like this,
Ah,
like Spider-Man 2 was the better of all three of them. It was such a
hands down the best movie villain
yeah.
that they had.
I mean,
I love Dafoe. Don't get me wrong.
William Dafoe, fantastic. I loved him, but they just killed him off so quick, and it was just like, whatever. But Dr. Octopus, like, he had so much charisma. He had so much going with it. And then that TikTok video I sent you.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was funny. But so here's my first listing. Okay, so obviously you have the first Dr. Octopus. Number 2, you have Electro. I kind of have a feeling with it, though, that's a misdirect. We're seeing the yellow. We all know it's going to be blue with Electro. Or yellow. He could have changed it because it could be a variant of Electro, obviously. There's a part of the movie where you see Peter standing there, and then there's a projection off to the side of him that gets hit.
Yeah.
I think that's Lizard.
Yeah, I agree.
Richard Connors.
That's where my Lizard came in.
I think we're gonna have the Hobgoblin. That is being told what to do by William Dafoe, because we're not gonna have William Dafoe.
The ghost.
But it's gonna be like a voiceover kind of thing.
The mirror image and things like that we got from
right, because we haven't had Norman yet, so we haven't really seen what Norman looks like. So at that point, it's kind of shows you, okay, we have the multiverse. So you have 2 from Toby, you have 2 from Garfield. Well, what about his foes? And his foes, I think you're going to have Scorpion and you're going to have Vulture.
Man, if Michael Keaton is in this, they've done a really, really, really good job
of hiding
him hush hush.
Yeah,
of hiding him. Scorpion's a good one. We haven't really seen a whole.
And I think that's what sort of shocked fans is like, oh, we got Scorpion finally, because Scorpion's always been one of those, like, he's been always. It's kind of like when we were kids, who was the A-list Marvel people? It was usually Captain America, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, you know, like the people that had shows. Iron Man, nobody really watched the show half the time. But look what Marvel has been able to do with B-list characters. You know, Black Widow, great.
Black Widow.
Iron Man films. You know, now we're getting a Hawkeye series. We're getting a bunch of those types of stuff. So now with that happening, I think they're just like, okay, well, we're not going to deal with the A-listers. Let's bring the B-listers, because that's what everybody wants. That's what everybody wants to see. And I think
Matt Gargan would be a great addition. I just, like I said, I thought I had him penciled in. I erased him, but that's a good point. Scorpion's,
so
very valid.
My second list is, I think it's going to be a little far-fetched, but I think you're going to almost have the original Sinister Six. Almost the original Sinister Six. So you're still going to have Doc Ock, you're going to have Electro, you're going to have the Lizard, you're going to have Green Goblin, which that would be a crazy, crazy part to have William Dafoe come back. William Dafoe's like, what, pushing 70 almost, right?
70.
To come back beyond that glider. You know, obviously it'll be like a stand-in and stuff like that, but to see William Dafoe one last time as the Green Goblin come in, and then I think it would be even awesome to have Michael Keaton on that team as the Vulture.
Vulture.
It would be a really cool cast to see. But I really like, that's my second listing. I don't like you said, all it is just changing the Goblin part right there. Like, it's just changing the Goblin part.
One other one we haven't talked about, and he just got cast not too long ago.
Yeah,
Kraven.
Yeah,
I'm just, now that, because you started talking about, and then popped up behind you there on the show, and I was like, oh, that Kraven popped up back there, and I'm like, you know what? He just got cast.
Yeah.
And I mean, the variant that we're talking about variants, so I mean, it's a way to bring him back into the. So that's that's what I've been thinking since we last talked about. I mean,
Yeah.
when we our last show, that's all I thought about is who is the sixth? Who is the sixth? Because I didn't even, like I said, I didn't know there was a trailer dropping this week or
Neither
anything.
did I.
So I was like,
I mean, and that's what's killing me is like you got these guys that are like the Marvel lights of whatever the hell they call themselves, and they're like trying to depict every little single thing when it comes to like every single movie, and they try to say like, oh, we all knew it was coming out when WandaVision showed a heart on August
23rd.
And I'm like,
I saw that crap.
I was like, come on, man. Like you didn't
You're
know.
digging.
No one knew. You're just trying to pick stuff apart to get likes.
You're reaching on that one. Yeah.
I think what it was is that Sony literally felt the pressure of people like, okay, when are we getting this movie coming out? We already got the second Eternals trailer. We've got like the fifth Shang-Chi trailer coming out. This is the only other Marvel movie coming out here in the next year. When are we getting this?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think what was the Incredible Hulk? It was about 3 months before it even got released, or like 2 months before it got released when they dropped the trailer finally. So I think Sony was just kind of like, okay, what do we do? Like if we don't drop this trailer, there's going to be so much pressure. I think Sony felt so much pressure to drop this trailer where Marvel and Kevin Feige and all of them were just kind of like, don't drop it. Don't drop it. Like, get anticipated because they're going to want to go and see this movie, you know?
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be one of the craziest movies because we've been hoping for a Sinister Six since the first Spider-Man 3 movie come out.
Since first Toby.
Yeah.
Since first
We've
Toby, yeah.
We've been waiting for it. We never got it. Like we got somewhat close to it because we had Green Goblin Jr., we got Venom, and then we got the Sand. But that was it. Like it was like, okay, whatever. But I mean, I feel like this gives it more, how do I say, more hope and
more hope.
There's more on the line for Spider-Man. And not only that, but it shows that he can actually be an Avenger because he has to deal with these 6 crazy characters from 2 of them from one different Earth, and then 2 of them from his Earth, and then 2 of them from a different Earth, you know, and has to deal with all that at the same time and deal with his postpartum and his craziness that's going on. I think it's going to be a crazy, crazy world.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
Do the multiverse villains, when they look at Tom, are they seeing Toby, and that's where we get Toby, and are they seeing, or are they seeing their version of Spider-Man? So that's what I want. It's just something that crossed my mind because we don't know. I think Toby's in there somewhere. I don't know about I still don't know about Andrew Garfield. I think Toby's in there, and here's why. It's either there's two what ifs again.
Yeah.
You see Peter and Aunt May sitting on the couch.
Right.
And you see somebody walking in. I either think that's Tobey Maguire. That's one guess that I have. Again, the theory's speculation. I don't have any real knowledge about it. My other,
we're both just movie Marvel fans. We don't know.
my other one, Miles Morales. This is the way they introduce Miles into the MCU, and that was who walks into Peter's house with Aunt May, and because that's what I want.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As a native Mexican Puerto Rican man, I would love to see Miles Morales. I really would. I think Miles Morales would be such a great character to bring out. But I think he's also too soon. I don't think that's who everybody wants to see. I think that's just Happy.
Yeah.
I think it's just Happy walking in.
You think it's Happy?
Showing up with a bowl of popcorn going, hey, what's going on, guys? Like, my life's ruined because, Pepper doesn't want to talk to me because her husband died. And, like, I got hamburgers,
Yeah.
I love you 3,000.
I mean, that's probably the the 99% chance that's what that is. But I mean, I want Donald Glover. I want spoiler. I mean, these are the things that I want in this movie, whether they happen or not. I want Donald Glover. We already know he's spoiler. It was on his rap sheet when they showed it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's another chance that he's part of the Sinister Six and we get Miles Morales through that way. It's just theories and thoughts that I've had, but that's what I want. I don't want much.
No, I know. You're just like, I don't want much. Like you're like the guy on Ancient Aliens. Like it's aliens. No, I can't. Yeah. I think we are going to get Andrew, and I think we're going to get Toby. I really do. I really do, and I really hope we do, because I feel like as a fan of Marvel and a fan of comic books, there's times where you look at an actor and you're just like, dude, he put his heart and soul into this. He just got screwed over. When it comes to Andrew, I feel like he got screwed over so hard because everybody wanted it, and then that second movie just tanked and nobody liked it. They were just like, all right, Andrew, you're done. Toby, that third movie ruined him. And I mean, how many times have you seen Tobey Maguire in movies again? You know, it's kind of like the Brendan Fraser thing. You know,
that's my Toby's my wife's favorite. She loves the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi.
That's who we grew up with. You know what I mean? Like that's just who we grew up with. So I'd love to see those guys in it, and again, and to fight with the new Spider-Man and just keep going on and be like, dude, this is like. But I would like to see at least. Remember how they did Enter the Spider-Verse movie cartoon, and they had Jake Johnson playing Peter, and he was like, oh, well, on my Earth, I got married, got divorced. Like, I would like to see something like that, you know, kind of see like something happy on both those sides, or something sad that happened. Like it shows them, like it shows Toby Spider-Man going, we got married in my universe. We had a kid, you know, and then it opened up the universe for them having their kid. And you'd be like, okay, cool. Spider-Man, the wedding. And you got their kid going on and becoming Spider-Man down the road, like the comic books have happened. Then you have Andrew's Spider-Man going, I never met MJ. I was just this lonely guy trying to fight and take care of New York, you know, or he just quit it and he didn't want to deal with it no more. And it shows those two different sides of what Spider-Man could happen to.
Right.
I think the big spoiler or the ending, like the end credit, would be Ben Reilly showing up.
Or Uncle Ben.
Just because I mean, Miles Morales is like everybody wants Miles Morales, like they want it so quick. But Ben Reilly,
I didn't think about Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
What about Uncle Ben? Do you think Uncle Ben gets in there? Do we get a moment where he gets to say, "You're doing great. I'm proud of you." Do we get that?
Yeah, but I feel like you would have to find the right actor to play Uncle Ben.
It would have to be from not the one from Toby's
or
Andrews. It would have to be somebody from Tom Holland's universe.
And I think
that's a good point.
The best way to really just hammer this in is if they did, and this is just me being a Marvel fan on my own, is doing one last thing that Uncle Ben happened to be Stan Lee. That you know how much this movie would just destroy, or even Steve.
That get me right there.
You know what I mean? Like that would just be like, oh, and to see like you know how many 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old men would just be like crying to see Stan going like, hey kid, you're doing great. Remember what I told you before I passed, you know, and just utter those words. Like it would just be just mind-blowing. But there was one thing we forgot to talk about.
Good.
Doctor Strange. Everyone's
this could Doctor Strange and Peter's part alone in this thing could be a whole nother. I felt like he was at first, you know, he wanted to help, and then he became hypocritical all of a sudden.
Because of
Did you
Wand.
get that?
Because of Wand.
Yeah, but like it was like here he's like, here, I'm going to help you, but now you're trying to live two lives. You just can't do it. But then why did you help him?
So I think that's what has to deal with tomorrow NetSuite's episode, because NetSuite's episode has to deal with Doctor Strange, and
Doctor Strange, yeah,
not just Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange.
yeah, the spider.
I think that episode is going to transluce into the Spider-Verse, into the Spider-Man movie. And I think the first part of that movie is going to deal with the ramifications of next episode, which I don't know. I mean, we could see our Doctor Strange getting beat out by another Doctor Strange, and that ends up bringing out Mephisto.
Yeah.
And he escapes through the what if timeline into the MCU, which then shows you, hey, I'm Mephisto, but I'm dressing up as Doctor Strange this whole time, and even with this ramification, you know. And that's where you're going to end up getting the Doctor Strange Madness movie, you know, because I think everyone keeps talking about like Wanda is going to be the confirmed villain. I don't think Wanda is going to be the confirmed villain. I think she'll be a villain for, or I won't say villain, but she'll be bad for because she does
a moment. Right.
Right. And so then you're going to have Doctor Strange and Wanda fighting for a second, and then we're going to see Mephisto just going, you see what I did? Like, I really didn't touch anything. You all did it yourselves. And then that's where we'll end up seeing, like, Mephisto or some character like that they're going to have to deal with down the road, you know, in that episode, in that movie. But that's the big thing right there is Doctor Strange doesn't look like himself. He's got the inner sanctum. Everyone's talking about like, oh, it's frozen. And they're like, oh, it's in the middle. But everything else is
because he got snapped out of existence. He got snapped out of existence and then came back because they destroyed or what? Something fell through the.
It was the Hulk.
The
Hulk.
Yeah, the Hulk. That's right.
You don't think Doctor Strange isn't gonna fix that with like some astral projections and like just redo everything? Like, come on.
Yeah, something feels weird, and I mean, I don't know. It just, like you said, something feels off to me. I don't know what it is, and then obviously they're either fighting, because I don't think he's training him on the train.
Yeah,
I think they're fighting for something, for some reason. They're fighting, and then there's the one part where he pushes his astral projection, or his astral projects Peter out of the Spider-Man body, and he's holding that cube. So I don't know what that cube is just yet. So yeah, there's something. I don't know.
I think there was one last thing that I know a lot of people have already been talking about and losing their mind about. They're like, how does Doctor Strange have the Agamotto onto him? Well,
after the crush.
Right, after the crush. Well, obviously, the MCU fans don't really know, but the comic book fans know that there are actually 3 of them that were created. So obviously, if he has lost one, he's still got 2 more he was able to find. So he's probably able to find 2 of them. That's why you don't see him as he's creating the spell, the eyes opening up or anything like that, like and the Infinity Stones in the middle. So obviously, he was able to find 2 of those. But I do believe that is Mephisto holding on to one of them, creating the spell. So then Strange is dealing with that thing. And I think we're going to have a lot more Doctor Strange in this movie than we are like we did when Thor Ragnarok, when we had him for 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the movie. I think we're going to have him throughout the entire film. And it's going to show the side quest of Doctor Strange dealing with what he has to deal with, and he has the Eye of Agamotto, and then be like, okay, cool, now I can help Peter, or Peter, deal with the situation we have at hand.
I think it makes sense because, I mean, well, you're in New York, so, I mean, you're definitely going to have Doctor Strange. You should have Daredevil. So I hope like I said, I hope we get to see him suit up. Maybe that's part of something that's being hidden. I hope we get a little glimpse of him at the end.
Right.
One question before I got to go here.
Yeah, same here.
One question. Spider-Gwen. Yay or nay?
That's hard.
My son told me to ask. So I gotta.
No. So it depends on what Spider like. It depends on the actress and the actors. Um, if you would have asked me after the Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield came out, I'd have been like, no.
Yeah.
Now that you're asking me after Cruella dropped, which I absolutely love that movie. I've seen it like several times.
It's good. It was a great movie.
Great. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I would say yes. Emma Stone, I feel like she can reprise her role as Gwen and be Spider-Gwen. I think we can, like I said, that movie with Cruella and her just showing up with guitars and just being a punk rocker and just having fun with it.
Just having fun with it. Yeah, yeah.
We'll be able to I feel like we'll be able to see like Emma Stone when she was in when she first came out in
Superbad.
Just be that punk rocker chick, having fun. I think it'd be it'd be a great film. I really do. I just think we'll get a nod. If not, it's her saying something. I don't know. I'm just again making speculation. Don't nobody hold me to this, but yeah. I think we'll see either just because she's in the Andrew Garfield world, we'll get a nod, or maybe see a silhouette of it or something. That's just me speaking out loud. Who does Miles Morales live action?
Man,
got you, finally.
Man. Yeah, that I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna get back to that one. We got it next week to do because we got another 2 what ifs to break down.
What ifs to talk about because, like I said, next week has to deal with Doctor Strange, so that can.
So we'll break down this past Avengers one, then we'll break down the next one next week. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I'll have an answer on who I think my Miles Morales will be. That's a good question. Very good question. That's one I'm gonna have to think on.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good to see you. Get the feeling better, okay?
I will. I'll try. I've been drinking Tamiflu and just trying to survive.
Shoot me and let me know when you're ready to do next week, and then we'll get it set up.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Hey, guys, thanks for coming out. That was our Marvel show. I hope you liked it. A lot of what ifs, a lot of speculation. Again, this is theory. We have no inside knowledge, and I'll tell you right now, I don't have any inside knowledge. It's just one fan wanting to see what this trailer was all about. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to go to the Dash of Life, subscribe to this channel, hit like. You can see more videos like this. It helps, for a good cause. It's for me. That's the good cause, just to help hoop out a Dash out. But I love you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you. I'll obviously be checking for all the updates of when the next show is sometime next week. But thank you. Come back and see us. Good night, and I love you.